Joe Biden withdraws from U.S. presidential race. Gaza ceasefire talks to restart this week. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Shuhaida Arifin and this is World Today. US President Joe Biden ended his re-election campaign after fellow Democrats lost faith in his mental acuity and ability to beat Donald Trump, leaving the presidential race in uncharted territory. Biden, in a post on X, said he will remain in his role as president and commander-in-chief until his term ends in January 2025 and will address the nation this week. Biden's announcement follows a wave of public and private pressure from Democratic lawmakers and party officials to quit the race after his shockingly poor performance in a televised debate last month against Republican rival Donald Trump. The president struggled to put down a slow-boil uprising among some congressional Democrats and some influential honors who fear he lacks the capacity to defeat Trump in light of his halting performance in the presidential debate last month. Biden announced his re-election bid in April amid speculation and concerns about his age. Biden, 81, and Trump, 78, are the two oldest men, respectively, to have been elected president. Shortly after, Biden offered his full support and endorsement for Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic Party's new nominee, the first black woman to do so in the country's history. Harris, the first black and South Asian woman vice president in U.S. history, praised Biden for his selfless and patriotic act and vowed to earn and win the nomination. Harris will hope she has done the hard work to earn her full party's backing in the midst of the political crisis. The Democratic Party will be taking a historic gamble if it now turns to Harris to become its presidential candidate, betting that a black woman can overcome racism, sexism, and her own missteps as a politician to defeat Trump. If elected, Harris would break one of the highest glass ceilings left for women in the United States, that of occupying the country's top office. Her husband, Douglas Emhoff, would also be breaking new ground, moving from being the current second gentleman to the country's first gentleman. Meanwhile, Trump took to his social media website, Truth Social, to criticize Biden following his withdrawal from the presidential race. Trump alleged that Biden was unfit to run or serve as a president and vowed to remedy the damage he had done very quickly. Meantime, President Joe Biden's shock decision drew an outpouring of heartfelt reactions from American voters. Several people expressed deep sadness, but others said the decision was a relief given the growing calls for him to step down.
I think it's a momentous and historic decision. I'm a Democrat. I think President Biden has done a wonderful job, but I think, like a lot of Americans, was a little concerned about his age and his ability to do the job going forward. But I think he did the courageous thing, which is to step aside, let a new generation come to the fore.
I felt relieved. I think Mr. Biden has done a good job with the state of the country, and I also think it was time for him to hand it over to someone who is going to be a little more energetic in the campaign.
Well, it was a shock, but I think it's a good thing so that the Democratic Party can find somebody that they can all rally against and hopefully create some unity, because we don't have that right now.
U.S. allies around the world expressed respect and thanks on social media after Biden announced he would end his bid for re-election. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau praised Biden as a great man and a true friend to Canada, while Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese thanked Biden for leadership and ongoing service. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz spoke of respect for Biden's decision. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced a negotiating team would be sent this week for new talks on the deal to free hostages held in Gaza. The team would leave on Thursday, the day after he gives a speech to the United States Congress, but he did not say where they would go. Qatar and Egypt, with US support, have been mediating indirect talks between Israel and Hamas, which holds the hostages and has been at war with Israel for more than 9 months. International mediators have been trying for months to seal an accord between Israel and Hamas. A deal would involve a 6-week ceasefire during which some hostages seized by Hamas would be exchanged for Palestinians held in Israeli prisons. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant indicated that a deal could be reached. David Barnea, the head of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency, has twice been to Qatar in recent weeks for talks that fueled the hopes of the families of the hostages that an accord could be close. Netanyahu has repeatedly vowed to eradicate Hamas as well as bring home all of the hostages. Far-right members of his governing coalition oppose a truce deal. Demonstrators in Israel who have taken to the streets, sometimes in tens of thousands, to demand new elections and a hostage release deal, also accuse Netanyahu of prolonging the war. Yemen's Houthi promised a huge retaliation against Israel for a deadly strike on the port of Hodeidah. In a televised speech on Sunday, Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi said the Hodeidah strikes would lead to further escalations and more attacks targeting Israel. He said recent Israeli strikes in Yemen's Hodeidah port would not benefit Israel.
العدو الإسرائيلي سيخسر ويفشل ويجر على نفسه المزيد من المخاطر، وعلى الإسرائيليين المغتصبين لفلسطين أن يقلقوا أكثر من أي وقت مضى، وأن يخافوا أكثر من أي وقت مضى، وأن يدركوا أن قادتهم الحمقى والعدوانيين المجرمين يجرون عليهم المخاطر أكثر وأكثر.
The Israeli strikes in Hodeidah port killed 6 civilians. Hodeidah port is a vital entry point for fuel imports and international aid for rebel-held areas of Yemen and country where the United Nations says more than half of the population needs humanitarian assistance. The attack prolonged an escalation of violence between the Israel and the Houthis that began on last Friday when the Yemeni group launched a drone that hit the center of Tel Aviv.
ما حصل انه في الحديده انه عدوان على المنشآت النفطيه هو ليس بانجاز عسكري، هي عباره عن صهاريج نفطيه بامكان اي واحد ان يستهدفها، ولن يثنينا ولن يثني الشعب اليمني، واعتقد ان الرد اليمني القادم سيكون مؤلم ردا على هذه الضربات.
كل الضرب هذا كل اللي احنا واقفين مع القضيه الفلسطينيه تمام، ولا نتهاون ولا نتراجع ولا نتخاذل على القضية الفلسطينية مهما ضربوا مهما دمروا مهما قصفوا، لن نتهاون من أصغر يمني إلى أكبر يمني.
Coming up next, Bangladesh top court scraps most job quotas after violent unrest. Bangladesh top court on Sunday pared back contentious civil service hiring rules but failed to mollify university student leaders whose demonstrators against the scheme sparked nationwide clashes that have killed 155 people. The Supreme Court was due to decide next month on the legality of the recently reintroduced scheme that reserves more than half of government jobs for select applicants, but brought forward its verdict as the civil strife intensified. Dismissing a lower court order, the Supreme Court's appellate division directed that 93% of government jobs in the South Asian country should be open to candidates on merit.
অ্যাপিলেট ডিভিশন আর্টিকেল 104 অনুযায়ী কোটা প্রথার একটি চূড়ান্ত সমাধান দিয়েছেন। সেই সমাধানটি হচ্ছে বর্তমান প্রেক্ষাপটকে বিবেচনা করে মুক্তিযোদ্ধাদের জন্য 5% থাকবে, সাধারণ কোটা থাকবে 93%, আর 7% কোটা থাকবে। তার মধ্যে 5% হতে মুক্তিযোদ্ধা, তার সন্তান এবং তার পুত্রদের, নাতি নাতনিদের জন্য, আর 1% হচ্ছে নৃগোষ্ঠী যারা রয়েছে, ক্ষুদ্র নৃগোষ্ঠী তাদের জন্য, আর 1% হচ্ছে প্রতিবন্ধী এবং তৃতীয় লিঙ্গ তাদের জন্য।
What began as a protest against politicized admission quotas for sought-after government jobs snowballed this week into some of the worst unrest of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's tenure. Since last Tuesday, at least 155 people, including several police officers, have been killed in clashes around the country. Police have arrested several members of the main opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party and students against discrimination. The curfew imposed on Saturday would continue until the situation improves. The U.S. State Department warned Americans not to travel to Bangladesh and said it would begin removing some diplomats and their families from the country due to the civil unrest. India and Nepal said they were assisting with the repatriation of their citizens, with nearly 800 Indian students returning home as of Saturday. Flash floods in northern and southwest China have killed at least 20 people and left dozens missing after a week of deadly downpours across the country. In Shanxi province in China's northwest, car wreckages from a deadly bridge collapse were pulled out as cleanup operations continued for a second day. A flash flood caused a highway bridge to collapse in Shangluo City late on Friday, causing vehicles to fall into a river underneath it, killing at least 12 people. DNA samples have already been taken from 12 victims found, with official identification now underway. 2 of the 25 vehicles confirmed to have fallen into the water were found 4 kilometers from the section of the collapsed bridge. Meanwhile, in southwestern Sichuan province, more than 30 people were reported missing after a violent thunderstorm caused flash flooding in the town of Ya'an. Chinese President Xi Jinping has urged all-out rescue and relief efforts to find those still missing. China is enduring a summer of extreme weather with heavy rains across the east and south coming as much as the north has sweltered under successive heat waves. Brazil's Agriculture Ministry has ruled out 3 potential new cases of Newcastle disease in poultry after testing additional samples taken from animals in the area close to where a first case was confirmed last week. Newcastle is a viral disease that affects domestic and wild birds, causing respiratory problems among other symptoms and can lead to death. Brazil on last week detected its first case of Newcastle disease in poultry since 2006. The additional samples were collected from birds in 3 properties within the protection zone established in Rio Grande do Sul, where authorities have found the first case of the disease in 18 years when it was detected in subsistence animals. According to the Agricultural Ministry, the animals in the properties and materials that were in contact with them, such as the feed, were buried in the ditches and the areas were disinfected. A new power line will bring electricity from Turkey to Iraq and northern provinces as authorities aim to diversify the country's energy sources to ease chronic power outages. Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani said the new line was a strategic step to link Iraq with its neighboring countries. The 115-kilometer line connects to the Kisek power station west of Mosul and will provide 300 megawatts from Turkey to Iraq's northern provinces of Nineveh, Salah al-Din and Kirkuk. Decades of war have left Iraq's infrastructure in a pitiful state, with power cuts worsening the blistering summer when temperatures often reach 50 Celsius. In the northern Iraqi province of Diwaniyah, Iraqi demonstrators burned tires in front of the mayor's offices to protest against daily power cuts and water shortages during the extreme heat of summer.
عندنا صفر الكهرباء، عندنا متقطعه يعني كهرباء، هي التجهيز العام كان لازم ساعتين بساعتين، احنا عندنا تجي ربع ساعه تنقطع ربع ساعه، ما عندنا حتى الساعتين ما جاي يعطونا.
Despite its vast oil reserves, Iraq remains dependent on imports to meet its energy needs, especially from neighboring Iran, which regularly cuts supplies. Sudani has repeatedly stressed the need for the Iraq to diversify energy sources to ease the chronic outages. To reduce its dependence on Iranian gas, Baghdad has been exploring several possibilities, including imports from Gulf countries. In March, a 340-kilometer power line started operating to bring electricity from Jordan to Al-Rutbah in Iraq's southwest. Thousands of anti-tourism activists protested in Spain's Palma de Mallorca in the latest demonstration against a key industry for the Iberian nation. Carrying makeshift models of planes and cruise ships, protesters walked through the streets with posters reading, "No to mass tourism" and "Stop private jets." Anti-tourism activists have staged a series of protests this year in Barcelona and other popular holiday destinations like Palma de Mallorca, Malaga and the Canary Islands, saying visitors drive up housing costs and lead to residents being unable to afford to live in city centres. About 10,000 protesters took part in the Mallorca demonstration on Sunday. Some tourists supported the march, while others appeared uncomfortable. After Catalonia, the Balearic Islands was the second most popular region of Spain for tourists last year, attracting 14.4 million holidaymakers. Tourism generates 45% of the Balearic Islands' gross domestic product. In the first quarter of this year, 16.1 million people visited Spain, an increase of 18% compared with the same period last year. Hundreds of migrants headed towards the U.S. border from southern Mexico. Hundreds of migrants make their way north towards the United States from Chiapas state in southern Mexico near the border with Guatemala. Many thousands of migrants are fleeing violence and poverty across Mexico every year, heading for the U.S. border.
Permitan la pasada porque si está duro, pues si vamos con muchos niños, ¿no? Mucha gente con muchos niños. Es más niños los que van que gente adulta, pues. Ajá. Sí. Me gustaría pues que nos dé una oportunidad a todos de lograr pasar.
Porque no hay oportunidades ahí en el país. Cada día estamos peor. La gente lo pinta de que es un país seguro, pero no es un país seguro. Seguro tal vez, pero para nosotros los pobres no.
They often travel in large groups or caravans in protest and to protect themselves against robbery, kidnapping, extortion by criminal groups. Paris is about to celebrate the first post-COVID Olympics, but the grand opening ceremony along the River Seine makes it an unprecedented security challenge that could dampen the party vibe of the event this Friday. For the first time, a Games opening ceremony will not take place in a stadium, but dozens of boats will carry thousands of athletes and performers on a 6 kilometers floating parade on the Seine. The show will be attended by over 300,000 people on both banks of the river, but also closely watched by some 45,000 police who will be dispatched to ensure the ceremony security, including special intervention forces. Snipers will be deployed on the top of the building along the route. An anti-drone system will be in place. Paris 2024 Organizing Committee President Tony Estanguet is aware of the challenge.
There's never been any discussion to put at risk
a security model. So the base is how we can guarantee the security for the spectators and for the athletes, and that's why there is an unprecedented system of security in our country and in Paris, particularly to make sure that security will be there. Yes, I confirm that there is an international security partnership, like it's always done for any international events, and we speak about 40 countries who collaborate with France on security measures.
In a further boost for organizers, the water quality of the River Seine, which is set to be used for outdoor Olympic swimming events, has also improved since the start of July. This will be the first time a Summer Olympics has opened outside the main athletics stadium, with up to 300,000 ticket spectators set to watch from stands and on the river banks, and another 200,000 expected to watch from the overlooking apartments. In sports, Borges denies Nadal in Bastard, wins maiden tour title. Rafael Nadal suffered a setback in his Paris 2024 Olympic preparations as he was beaten 6-3, 6-2 in the Swedish Open final by Portuguese 7th seed Nuno Borges. The 38-year-old Spaniard was playing his first title match since his 2022 French Open triumph, but saw his serve broken 5 times in the 1 hour and 27-minute contest as Borges won his maiden tour final. Portuguese Borges, playing his first ATP final compared to Nadal's 131st, took the first set in 46 minutes and won 3 games in a row in the second to seal victory. Nadal, who has hampered by injury in recent years, has fallen to 261 in the rankings and opted against playing at Wimbledon this summer to prioritize the Olympics. Nadal won an Olympic singles gold medal in Beijing 2008 and a doubles gold in 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics. He will team up with a 4-times major winner Carlos Alcaraz, 21, in the doubles at Paris 2024. Arthur Fields denied world number 4 Alexander Zverev back-to-back titles at the Hamburg European Open in a 3.5-hour thriller. After victory in Lyon last year, it is a 20-year-old's second ATP title as he confirms his position as one of the sport's leading next-gen players. Fields edged a close encounter 6-3, 3-6, 7-6 to win his second tour-level title and first ATP 500 crown, saving 21 of 22 breakpoints faced, including a crafty underarm serve which caught German's Zverev off guard and led to boos and whistling from the home crowd. The win sees Fields, who is expected to rise inside the top 20 in Monday's updated rankings, improve to 1-2 in his all-time head-to-head record against Zverev, having lost to the 2023 champion in last year's semi-final. Fields' victory makes him only the second player under 21 to win at Hamburg since Roger Federer in 2002 and Lorenzo Musetti in 2022. Elsewhere, Matteo Berrettini eased to victory to win the title at the Swiss Open in Stade, beating Quentin Elise in the final in straight sets and earning the Italian his second clay court title of the year. Berrettini took less than an hour to claim the win after struggling with injury and form in recent times. However, he looked more than comfortable in the 6-3, 6-1 win.
Yeah, this year when we started, and I started late, we decided it wasn't the year that we would think about ranking, you know, because there were so many uncertainties, so many doubts, my body, you know, and the most important thing is that I'm healthy, that I'm playing good, and I think when those things are there, then everything can come. It would be nice, I mean, to be in the top 30 in order to be seated in Australia, you know. I think that's a pretty good goal that I can have right now.
Berrettini is trying to reach his third final of the year following Marrakesh in April and Stuttgart in June. Currently ranked 82, Berrettini was outside of the top 150 in March, but a return to fitness and a fine 16-6 record for the current season has seen in the 2021 Wimbledon finalist begin to refine his best level. Tadej Pogacar became the first rider to achieve the Giro d'Italia Tour de France double since 1998, when he claimed his third Tour title on Sunday, cementing his domination by winning the final stage for his six-stage success. The Slovenian beat defending champions Jonas Vingegaard of Denmark and Belgian Remco Evenepoel, who was second and third overall on the final stage with a winning margin of 6 minutes and 17 seconds. Astonishingly, Pogacar won this edition of the Tour de France, adding a third overall title to his 2020 and 2021 crowns.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I cannot describe how happy I am after two hard years in the Tour de France. Always some mistakes, and this year everything to perfection. And I'm out of the words, so I'm super happy.
Pogacar won the 37.7-kilometer individual time trial from Monaco to Nice in a time of 45 minutes and 24 seconds, destroying his rivals with a gap of 1 minute and 3 seconds over Vingegaard, winner of the last two tours. In Rally, Toyota's Kelly Rovanperä went back to his roots to become the first winner of Rally Latvia as part of the World Championship. The 23-year-old Finn, who was rallying competitively in Latvia at the age of 12, led from the start in Riga and dominated on the Baltic countries' fast gravel roads to win the season's 8th round. The double world champion beat French teammate and 8 times title holder Sébastien Ogier by 39.2 seconds. Both are competing this season only part-time. Estonian Otto Tänak, who was world champion in 2019, finished third for Hyundai and a further 25.3 seconds adrift after overtaking local hero Martin Sachs on the final stage. Sachs is only his second WRC rally, dropped to 7th after his M Sport from Puma developed a transmission problem.
Yeah, it has been a great weekend so far. It's quite cool having almost like my third home rally in a way. First time here also. It's cool to have the first win here. Latvia has been an important place for me. But yeah, big thanks goes to Jonne and the team also. I think we were a bit stronger than what we expected this weekend, so the team has made a good job.
The next round is in... Alright, so that wraps up our bulletin this afternoon. In our top story today, Joe Biden withdraws from U.S. presidential race. Do join us again in TV1. It's on Berita RTM at 8:30 p.m. for more news, or you can always stream us online on your YouTube channel or website and mobile app. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin from River to the Sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching.